But with very little timing, it didn't matter. Short boundary, quick outfield, 4 runs.
Yeah, good start for David Warner in particular, and Australia, of course. Didn't need to do an awful lot. It's a little bit too leg side and easy to at least find the gap, but he's timed it better than he perhaps looked at first glance, because Tom Curran wasn't gaining ground on that one. So yeah, good shot for Warner, first delivery, and Australia very much ahead of the game early doors, but of course they need to sustain it for 50 overs, something that they haven't done consistently. They've got them. I think they should be 2-0 up, but they managed to throw that one away, and that was only chasing 230. So more pressure on now, and maybe Warner is the man.
Yeah, from this end, the Brian Statham end, I think that is a very short boundary, isn't it, to left-handers on that side. Something England weren't really able to exploit too much when Morgan was at the crease. But yeah, the left-handers in Australia's lineup will certainly fancy that short distance. So Woakes, bit of a delay before he comes into bowl again. I'm not sure why. Why has there been a big delay here? But he still hasn't bowled his second ball. In fact, he's not even anywhere near bowling that second ball. The camera's focused on Josh Butler for some reason, who's looking up at the stands. I'm at a loss as to say why there's been a delay here, but it looks like finally we might see some action again. Warner watches carefully as Woakes does come in. Bowls, this one again similar length outside the off stump, just shovelled into mid-on this time, where it's fielded by Archer, and this time there is no run.
Pretty similar delivery that actually, wasn't it? Back of a length on leg stump. This time he just did it a little bit too straight, and it was straight to the field. There's probably a run there because Archer was running round to his left, and of course he's right-handed, but they didn't take him on. Don't want to get a run out early doors. Here's Woakes again to David Warner. This one is similar delivery, just a run down towards cover, and fielder from mid-off rushes in, which is I think Morgan. And there's good scurry about the England fielders at the moment. They're trying to set the tone here and stop the singles in the first few overs. Momentum very much with England after that finish, where they scored something like 82 runs off the final 10 overs. And Woakes in particular, who's got the new ball in his hand with that terrific half century, bowls again, and this one is just chopped down into the ground by Warner, rushing in from point. I think it might have been Roy, and there is no run. So one boundary, 3-dot ball so far in this over. Camera's focusing on Mark Wood, who's fielding at fine leg. He's the one change to the England side. Morgan admitting at the toss that Sam Curran was very unfortunate to miss out. Changing a winning side, not something that Morgan did lightly, but he felt the extra pace of Wood on this wicket would suit England. This next delivery is full on middle stump, and it's driven away into the offside, fielded by Root in the covers, and there is no run again. But as we've seen from the Australia innings, probably one of the most effective bowlers was Mitchell Marsh, with no pace to speak of at all, and some very good slower balls. England found it very hard to get him away. Maybe there could be an argument that the likes of Woakes and Curran with their slow balls later on might also have some fun. His next delivery hits Warner on the pad. He's trying to just work this one off his pads. It's going down the leg, and there's no appeal for LBW. It just balloons up towards the slips, and that's the end of the over. So 4 without loss. Warner 4, Finch yet to face a delivery. Yeah, pretty good over in the end from Chris Woakes. I mean, the first delivery, I don't think it was a bad delivery as such, but it's obviously nicely played by David Warner. Didn't give Warner any room at all at either side of the wicket. The England fielders are quickly on the balls that are potentially quick singles. So it's a good start for England. Whether they can sustain for 50 overs, if a batsman gets going, it does take something out of the fielders, that's for sure. Jofra Archer, no surprise. His pace is coming on at the James Anderson end. 29 wickets in 17 matches in his career so far. Best of 3 for 27. But, well, he's had David Warner's number for a while now. He will actually be bowling to Aaron Finch first up.
been pretty consistent scoring runs for Australia.
Yeah, so Archer gets ready to come in and bowls down the leg side, and that one, although Finch tries to chase after it, was too far wide and is the first extra to the Australia total of this reply. Archer's got 2 slips, mid-off, mid-on, a cover backward point, and a man on sort of 45 degrees, sort of short third man, as this next delivery is down the leg side again, and although Finch this was a bit closer to his leg stump, that's going to be widened again by the umpires, and it's a sloppy start to the bowling of Jofra Archer.
Yeah, I wonder, we've seen a breeze, quite a strong breeze, judging by the flags anyway. I don't know which way it is for Jofra Archer. It might just be putting him off a little bit.
Here he comes again to Finch, and balls outside the off stump this time. This one's just jabbed down into the ground by a hopping Finch at 87 miles an hour. That one was sent down by Archer. Said in his, I think it was post-match interview, or possibly an interview that he did in between the second one day and this match, that sometimes he just feels as though he's going to go well on a certain day, and other days he doesn't. This next delivery outside the off stumps crashed into the deck, but stopped at point by Morgan, and there is no run. So cover, actually, he's got a cross to stop that one.
Yeah, good shot.
He's actually wearing Jofra Archer's shirt, isn't he, Owen Morgan? So it was a bit peculiar to see him with the number 22 and Archer on his back. He must be wearing it over the top of his own shirt there, Owen Morgan. And here is Archer again, who bowls. This one's full and driven into the offside. Good shot from Finch. There might be 4 runs here. He's found the gap and drilled it through. It is a second boundary. Oh no, it's not. It's going to stop just before. Sorry. And they're going to come back for 3. So that one suddenly just stopped on its way to the boundary, and Curran caught up with it, but still a good over so far for Australia. 3 more, taking them to 10 without loss.
They ran all 4. There's an all
did they?
4. Yeah. There's a long chase there. It's the long boundary, and it's gone right to the corner. It's only just reeled in, so it's an all-run 4 for Aaron Finch.
Yeah.
That keeps the strike.
So 2 wides, a dot ball and an all-run 4. It's all happening as Archer bowls again. This one's in the air, driven over the top of mid-off. 2, 3 bounces and 4 more. And he's going after Jofra Archer. Here is Aaron Finch. And with a vengeance, he's going after him. Australia already 14 without loss.
Yeah, it's in the slot. Not necessarily easy to put away. It wasn't quite a half volley, but it's a length ball, little bit of width. Wouldn't necessarily say it's a bad ball, but Aaron Finch backs himself. He's got enough on it. He gets 4, second 4 of the over, of course, first boundary. Moves on to 8.
Archer's in again and bowls, and this one's left by Finch outside his off stump. As he just adjusts his grill and his helmet, and then rehearses a cut stroke, which he might unfurl a bit later on in the innings, but maybe not right now. So Australia looking to just erase those bad memories of the collapse of Sunday night. Are off to a decent start. Certainly a better start than England made, as this one's delivered by Archer and edged uppercut over the top of the slips. 4 runs.
Yeah, I think that's... I wonder if this has gone too fast for the fielders, because I wasn't sure it was massively out of their reach, but Joe Root's leaning to his right, he's at second slip. Bairstow's leaning to his left as though it's one for you, but it's probably too high for the pair of them, to be true.
Yeah.
But neither went for it, which would be disappointing. But what a start off. Jofra Archer talked about his threat towards David Warner. Well, Finch has just hit him for 12. There was 2 wides. There was 14 off the over. And Australia will be delighted. 18 without loss then off 2. Admittedly, that last shot could have gone anywhere. Could have been out on another day, but they'll take it. 18 without loss off 2. They need 6 and over consistently. And of course they're ahead of that right now.
So Chris Wokes will get the ball again from the other end, Brian Statham end. Again, there's a bit of delay before the over can begin. Taking the slips out now as he comes into Warner, who moves across his stumps and plays this one down the ground and quickly picked up by Wokes, and then Warner's sent hopping back into his ground as Wokes threatened to run him out.
Yeah, it hasn't taken long for England's potential slips to disperse. I mean, Wokes did go for a boundary in his first over, but he bowled 5 dot balls. No slips.
Comes in again here, Wokes. To bowl to Warner, and this one is pushed just beyond point, and it's got through a tiny gap there. There's a chase on for Morgan, who was at cover, goes back, slides, will get at least 2 here as he throws. They're coming back for 3, so quick work from Finch, who was running to the danger end, sees him make his ground, and Australia already 21 without loss.
Yeah, again, it's nicely timed. I say timed, it's got, obviously you've got a thick edge. I think that's a slight misjudgment from backward point, can't quite work out who it was. Could have put a dive, it might be Jason Roy actually. He might not have got there, it's possibly been a little bit too critical, but yeah, he could have put a dive in, he didn't. Found the gap nicely through the thick outside edge. It does mean they've switched ends, and Finch is now facing Wokes for the first time, the right-hander. Square leg has just gone back deep. The third man is back as well, they're the deep fielders.
Here is Wokes again then, who bowls to Finch, and this one is well, it's plain a miss. He's just managed to sneak one by him there, just on a slightly back of a length ball outside the off stump.
Good delivery, decent enough pace. It's not lightning Chris Wokes, but decent enough pace, little bit of movement.
Wokes in again to Finch, who goes back into his crease, hit on the pads. I think it was going down the leg side. There's no appeal from England. There may have even been a bit of bat on that, but it was never going to be worth an appeal for Wokes, but at least it's a dot ball. If England are going to bowl this line, though, I mean, Archer did. A couple of balls went down the leg side for wides. If Wokes is going to try and bowl it again to cramp Finch for room, then there really is no margin at all for error with the strict interpretation of the wides in one-day cricket. He comes in again here, Wokes, and balls this one on the pads. I hit him on the back pad. He's going to be LBW in front here. Big wicket for England. Aaron Finch, the finger goes up, and Finch is walking off. This is a huge breakthrough for England. Finch was looking like he was in great form, but he's gone in the third over. Australia 21 for 1.
Yeah, it just looked nailed on straight as soon as it hit him. The only thing that could have saved him was an edge, but I mean, Finch is the captain. He's just walked off. He's not expecting anything else. So obviously he didn't hit it. It's just full on the stumps. It's probably going to hit halfway up middle. And well, Finch is gone. It hit 12. Okay, one of them was a streaky edge, but there was good run in there as well. They were turning 2s into 3s, 3s into 4s, things like that. And chasing a big-ish total, certainly the biggest in the series. That's a big blow because he has been in form. Yeah,
and he really does set Australia a little bit back after this tremendous start they've made. New batsman coming in will be, I think, Marcus Stoinis, isn't it? Stoinis is listed at 3. This would have been probably Steve Smith's batting position had he been deemed fit. But Finch gone for 12 off 9 balls. Australia 21 for 1, and Wokes strikes quite early on. Well, very early on. It was actually with his 11th delivery. Target of 303 looks a long way away for Australia, as Wokes just works on the ball. Has a chat to Archer, getting ready to execute his plans to Marcus Stoinis. He's had an interesting series. He actually averages 33 and a half in one-day internationals, over 1,000 runs, so bags of experience. And he's made a couple of half-decent scores without really going on to make those sort of major significant contributions to Australia's cause. I think he got about 40 odd in the first one-day international. It was quite a brisk 40 odd though, at better than a run a ball. Moeen is just waving at the cameras from the England balcony now, as Stoinis is now ready to face his first ball from Chris Wokes, who is in. One slip back in place now for Wokes, who bowls a fuller ball, which is defended by Stoinis and picked up by Wokes in his follow-through. Well, what an excellent cricketer he is for England, Chris Wokes. He's had a very, very good summer. I think probably in terms of consistent performance for England across all the formats and all the series that England have played, he'd say he might even be the best, Rob. Would that be about right?
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I just think he does an excellent job, doesn't he? I mean, he has been struggling with the bat until he got that score, as you mentioned. Until he got that score, I think he was averaging about 5 in about his last 10 tests or something like that. They made a point of it. So he's really struggling with the bat, but now he's contributing with the ball. Well, he was contributing with the ball anyway, but he's added the bat as well. He's a pretty good fielder, good all-round cricketer. He's just playing in a time when there's a certain Ben Stokes.
Yeah, he got 5 for 50 against the West Indies, of course, in the final Test match. Then the 84 not out against Pakistan in the first Test match of that series. He made 40 in the final Test match of that series as well, and then in the one-dayers here, 1 for 59, 3 for 32, and 1 for 7 already, as Archer is about to come in to David Warner. And this is the battle that's been set up by all the talk about Warner struggling against Archer so far this summer. And this one's a length ball, which is played into the offside beautifully by Warner. That's hit the middle and pinged off it towards the cover boundary. 4 runs again. So a good start for Warner, and Archer continues to shake his head. Maybe this isn't a going day for Jofra Archer.
Well, the 2 fours that David Warner's hit, he's basically put his bat on the ball. That's all he's done. But they've raced away. There's no chance for the fielders. That particular delivery was offered a bit of width, and he didn't need to do much.
Archer's in again. Ball's back of a length, and this one is played awkwardly off the back foot and just sort of aimed down off the toe end towards point. He just chopped at it there, but he remains where he wants to be. Not out 11, Warner. His tale of woe against Jofra Archer dates back to that Ashes Test series of last summer. Continued throughout the World Cup, and then this summer's T20s and 50 over matches. Next delivery from Archer is played into the offside. Again, similar shot to the last one. This one won't reach the boundary though, as it's fielded close to the rope for the loss of 2 runs. So Warner stays on strike, 13 not out. But coming into this innings, David Warner was averaging less than 8 runs per dismissal to Jofra Archer, and there have been at least 7 dismissals to him, and 4 or 5 in this series. But Australia now 27 for 1 in the 4th over.
Yeah, well, he hasn't quite reached that yet, has he? He's faced 4 deliveries and he's hit 6 runs. Yeah.
Still time then, Jofra. He bowls his next one. It's full on off stump, and it's played down the ground by Warner, who wants a single, but then is going to send Stoinis back. Stoinis also backing up a little bit there, but good clear call from Warner, who shouted no as soon as he saw it heading towards mid-off. Still a bit of an enigma, isn't he, Jofra Archer? Obviously lots of talent and ability, but doesn't always consistently put it together. We'll see what he can produce now. This next delivery outside the off stump, much better line and length to the left-hander, just outside the off stump as Warner leaves, and that's the end of the over. 27 for 1.
Yeah, it's not a bad over, 6 from it. Batsman getting in, of course, not necessarily in just yet. 13 off 13 now for David Warner with 2 fours. Marcus Stoinis has only faced the 1 delivery, so yeah, batsman getting in, still got 6 from it. 27 for 1, they're above the required rate. Obviously, they've got to sustain it for 50 overs. They'll hope without losing too many wickets this time. So it's still decent enough stuff. It's just a big blow to get rid of Finch. He's a form player, he's a big hitter, he can take the game away from bowling sides, and they've got him early. So David Warner's exactly that type of player as well. Gets on with it, doesn't hang around, and if he can get a big score, or if he can stay in for long enough, then you know Australia will be, going along at a decent tempo. Jofra Archer hasn't quite found his straps yet. He's bowling quick enough. But as I say, the two shots that he's played for a boundary, he hasn't done anything. It's just zipped away.
Here's Woke starting his third over. This is a big shot from Stoinis. It come through the hands of Archer at mid-off. Was that a catching opportunity? It's I think it stung his fingers there, Archer, as he was trying to get his hands into place to take a catch, but it's gone through for 4.
This is a catch. It's gone through his fingers. He doesn't have to move. They are just above his head. It is hit hard, but you'd expect somebody to catch that. I've seen easier catches, obviously, but it's straight to him and he didn't have to move. He's got two hands there. I think he was worried about the pace of the ball and, a little bit tentative putting his hands there. He's only just missed the top of his head, so he was well set. That's a big chance that's gone begging. Interesting shot from Stoinis. It's only his second delivery he's faced.
Yeah, certainly the aggression may have surprised Jofra Archer. He looks like he's wringing his fingers out in pain and might be going off here. This is bad news for England because he's in the middle of his spell and he's going off the field with a potential finger injury. He's lucky that when he actually missed the catch opportunity, he didn't brain him. He could have gone straight through, hit him between the eyes, that couldn't it? But he's fortunate. Possibly this is only maybe a slight finger injury that's going to get looked at. Of course, if he isn't able to bowl now, huge problems for England because they don't really have the balanced team that they can find a sort of six bowler, do they?
Well, any good news, if you want good news, is his left hand that's hurt, seemingly, and he bowls with his right hand, so he should be able to bowl, I would have thought.
Here is Chris Wokes, who comes in to continue the over. This one is defended by Stoinis into the offside, no run, 31 for 1.
I mean, that's a bold move from Stoinis. He's faced one delivery, and the next delivery he's faced, which was a full over later, he's come charging down the track. He's hit it hard, but he could have easily been caught on another day. I would say should have been caught. So I think Australia are aware that it's a big target, and they don't want to fall behind the run rate.
Wokes in again, bowls, and this one is played off the back foot, hit aggressively, and a caught. Oh no, it's not caught. I thought it was brilliantly stopped, but not caught at point by Bairstow, and England managed to hurry and hustle round to prevent the single. Now it was never going to be a catch. He actually fielded it on the first bounce there, Bairstow, but he gets applauded by the bowler Wokes for that effort.
He's hit it hard again. He's hit it hard against Stoinis.
Wokes comes in, bowls, and this one is defended on off stump by Stoinis, who seems to be finding the middle quite easily at the moment. Warner's just doing some exercises at the non-striker's end, watching the entertainment. Australia 31 for 1 inside 5 overs. Although they've lost their captain, they're still going aggressively at England's bowlers. I was going to tell you as well before this over started that the boundary 4 that Warner hit off Archer's last over was actually the first boundary he's hit off Jofra Archer this summer. He's been dismissed 4 times by Archer. So that shows you how much dominance Archer's had over Warner, but I'm not sure he'll be bowling the next over just yet. Here comes Wokes, who's in, and this one is played off the pads by Stoinis into mid-wicket, no run. Wokes will be glad for a couple of dot balls just to calm things down out there. .31 for 1. Archer's coming back. He's had it seen to, and he seems to be all right to continue. He's just coming down the steps and now heading to the edge of the boundary to potentially bowl the next over. Wokes' last ball of his over is bowled from wide of the crease into the leg stump. Oh, he's caught at mid-wicket. It was just dabbed up towards Morgan, who stretched up and took the catch, and that's Stoinis gone for 4. Chris Wokes has got his second wicket. Australia 31 for 2.
This is a horror shot. It's going to be about 3 wide down the leg side, and he's stretching for it just to tickle it round the corner to try and get something, and it's a leading edge, and all he's done is scoop it up to Owen Morgan. If he'd have left that, he'd certainly 1 wide. I'm not sure Butler's stopping it, but he's managed to give England a second wicket. I mean, he was dropped on the first delivery of this over, so you might say Chris Wokes has got what he was due, but having survived that chance to then give it away like he did, that's going to be extremely frustrating for Stoinis there. He's gone for 4. He was hitting the ball well as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure that batting at 3 is the right position for Marcus Stoinis if he's going to bat like that. It was a little bit reckless and just lacked a little bit of finesse, really. But Marnus Labuschagne comes out next, the Australian number 4 batsman, with his side not quite in trouble at 31 for 2. A few runs, you don't even make eye contact with him. Archer is a bit disappointed that one didn't get dragged onto the stumps by David Warner, who now moves on to 15.
Yeah, could have gone anywhere. Archer almost, he thought he had him. He's kind of playing it at the sort of back of a length ball. It's a great length, that, because he doesn't know whether to come forward or stay or go on the back foot. And he's trying to play a shot in between. And it's an edge that obviously could have gone anywhere. Get some couple of runs though. Australia move on to 33 for 2. Warner's now on 15 off 18.
Is Archer again banged in and defended by Warner as he just gets his hands over the top of that one. So he's got a smile on his face, hasn't he now, David Warner? Whether he's out cheaply or whether he's making runs, you always get the sense that he's enjoying his cricket. And maybe it's a bit of a something he's added to his game, just as a bit of a charm offensive as well after his PR problems in the past. But even when he gets out, or when he gets beaten by a good ball, he always has a bit of a smile and a chuckle back to the bowler. He watches on now as Archer comes in and bowls. This one's outside the off stump, left alone by the left-hander as it goes through to Jos Buttler, 33 for 2. So what's just 1 run off the over and a wicket as well. No, not a wicket, sorry, that was a previous over, wasn't it? So two runs off the over to get it correct. Australia 33 for 2.
Yeah, and obviously more overs like that, just going to apply the pressure. Chris Woakes at the other end is only going for 1 scoring shot on over. He's taken 2 wickets as well, plenty of dot balls. Obviously Finch took a few runs off Archer's first over. There's a boundary even off his second, but the dot balls are just mounting up. Labuschagne hasn't faced the delivery yet, so he's going to have to get going. Obviously England might think about changing bowlers. They might, obviously with Woakes taking 2 wickets. I'm not saying it's going to happen in the next over or 2, but they might want to get somebody else a chance. Mark Wood, for example. So things might change for Australia, but they're just dragging the run rate down a little bit. It's down to 5.5 now, the current run rate, and of course it was 9 or 10 early on.
So 33 for 2, and Chris Wokes is ready to come in for his 4th over. No slips again to new batsman Marnus Labuschagne. This one's on a length outside off stump. Labuschagne just covers up with a defensive push back down the wicket to Wokes. Looks like there are a few words directed at Labuschagne as he came out to bat from, I think, Tom Curran, who was hustling back there. This series, as all the series have this summer in England, have been played in very good spirit, but you can understand maybe a few tempers boiling over at this late stage of things. This next delivery from Wokes outside the off stump, again left by Labuschagne, who seems to model his batting on Stephen Smith. He's got that very distinctive leave, and he shuffles across his stumps to play a lot of balls outside the off stump, trying to get into line to play through mid-on almost. Here comes Wokes again. This one's played off the pads by Labuschagne for a single that gets him off the mark just behind square on the leg side, and Australia are 34 for 2.
Yeah, halfway through the 7th over, ball back on strike. He's at a couple of nice 4s without seeming to do an awful lot. Hasn't thrown the bat or anything like that. So I just wonder if it is a going day for David Warner. Chris Wokes, though, is taken 2 for 12, so at the moment it's a going day for him. Of course, he scored a half century, so he should be bowling with plenty of confidence right now.
Yeah, the Birmingham Bears player comes in again, balls outside the off stump. This one's driven into the offside, and it's fielded in the covers, I think, by Morgan there. Yeah, he's a very good white ball exponent, isn't he? And obviously very good red ball exponent in English conditions. The question mark that still hangs over him, I guess, the one that people always talk about is, will he ever be able to be an effective bowler for England overseas without the Duke ball? He's in again and bowls this one on the pads. It's played off the hips there by Warner for a single down to square leg. 35 for 2. England, I think, was it about 67 they had after the power play of their innings?
67 for 2, yeah.
So Australia still a little way short of that in terms of the run rate at the moment, anyway. England did slow up quite dramatically straight after the power play, because that's when they lost the captain Owen Morgan, like 2 balls after the power play had finished, I think. Wokes is in again to bowl to the right-handed Labuschagne, who leaves outside the off stump. Very low carry as that one just scoots through, scuttles through to Butler at 82 miles an hour. And that's the end of the 7th over. They're going at exactly 5 and over, 35 for 2.
Yeah, 2 down. Obviously, Labuschagne taking his time. He's eyeing up the bowlers, get his eye in. It's old-fashioned cricket. They'll come out smashing the ball from the off, which is what Stoinis appeared to be doing. Still haven't seen that wicket again, actually, but I mean, he's going to be absolutely furious with himself. He could have got wides there, but he's not capitalised on the chance he was given, and he'd be fuming because he's not nailed on to be Australia's number 3, and it's dismissals like that which aren't going to necessarily cement your place. It's a nail out of the coffin, no nail in the coffin.
Here's Archer continuing to Warner, and this one he plays cross bat into the leg side. Didn't quite time it, and it's going to be no run there for David Warner. He's just constantly fiddling with his equipment, his gloves. He tucks his bat underneath his arm and is constantly doing the strap of his gloves and resetting it. And he gets set again to face Jofra Archer, who's in again. Short run up and bowls this one on a length and just played off the back foot behind square on the leg side. They're looking to push for 2 here, but I think it was the right call from Labuschagne not to go for the second. It would have been Warner running to the danger end, but they decide against it quite rightly. 36 for 2. Archer's still got a slip in play. But actually, it's Johnny Bairstow who's standing at slips. I don't usually see Johnny Bairstow feeling it slip for England. You'd think it'd be Joe Root. But he's elsewhere. Aaron Finch watching on from the Australian balcony. His work's done for the day. Mitch Marsh sat behind him inside the glass, trying to relax as he's the next man due in. Archer comes in to the wicket again, bowls a length ball which is defended by Labuschagne on off stump. Has got a one-day international century to his name, Labuschagne. It came against the country of his birth, South Africa. And big loud cry of no there as he just prodded that one into the Old Trafford turf. That last delivery from Archie, which was pretty rapid. I'm not sure if it hit 90 miles an hour, but must have been pretty close. He's starting to really click now, Jofra Archer. He's in again. Ball's full, and this one's defended on a good length, actually. That was just defended by Labuschagne.
Yeah, I just wonder if he's slightly overplaying it, Labuschagne. That's probably his natural style, isn't it? I mean, nobody was going to run on that last delivery, and he's bellowing to everybody who can listen, but there isn't a run there. I don't know, he just seems to be slightly overplaying it. I think he likes getting under people's skin.
It comes in again here. His next delivery is just defended and run down towards Gully, where it's fielded by Root, and there is no run. Well, he certainly got under England's skin in the Ashes Test Series last summer. A great concussion replacement for Steve Smith, who really blossomed and nailed down his Test place. Had a great Australian summer as well at the turn of the year, and is not quite an all-formats player for Australia because he's not on their T20 squad, but a valued member of the one-day international setup. It's an attempted pull shot there. I think he might have pulled out of a pull shot actually as it goes through to Joss Buttler, and that is the end of the over. In Australia, having gone off at a frantic pace, have suddenly hit the buffers. They're still 36 for 2.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the last shot there is obviously the ball's passed, and then he's playing a shot. Yeah, I just think he likes annoying people, but it can be effective. And certainly England, as I mentioned, found that to their cost in the Test arena, perhaps more pertinently. But 36 for 2, England will be happy with that. The run rate has come back down to 4.5, so just the required rate will always just sneak up until they can get a big over or two. It doesn't take much in the early stages to change these things around. Chris Woakes will bowl through the power play. He's going to bowl his 5th.
Jofra Archer's decided to take his jumper off now. He's fielding at mid-on, and I think he's just had to... he's putting his jumper on now. Anyway, Woakes has got the ball in hand and comes into Archer. Bowls back of a length outside the off stump, run down towards third man by Warner, and he moves to 18 now again, just fiddling with his gloves and then his helmet, and practicing one or two defensive shots at the non-striker's end now as Woakes gets on with things. 2 for 14. Terrific opening spell. He's not really got much swing here. It's all through accuracy that he's got his wickets, and through a poor shot from Marcus Stoinis as well. Could have had Stoinis' wicket much earlier on, but for a drop from Archer. England's errors in the field not haunting them just yet. This next one from Woakes, he's played into the onside again. No backlift at all. He's not playing any kind of attacking shots here, Labuschagne, who's been in for 9 balls now and is still 1 not out. That was just a defensive, not even a push really. He just put the bat in the right line to deflect it into the pitch.
Yeah. I think you'd argue you'd be a little bit disappointed with Warner. By this stage, don't forget England were 0 for 2 off 2 balls. They did 8 falls and a 6.
Woakes bowls again. This is a slow ball played into the onside by Labuschagne. They're just going to get one here to Billings at deep square leg, or sort of just between square leg and deep square leg really, 3/4 the way back to the boundary. So 38 for 2 now.
I beg your pardon. 9 falls in the 6. So even though they'd lost 2 wickets, they still found the big shot. Now, whether that's England being aggressive or Australia bowling loose balls, I don't know. But Australia, the boundaries have dried up.
Wokes in again. This one's a slow ball on middle stump, and it's defended by Warner. It was a crafty one from Wokes at 75 miles an hour, just trying to scuttle it in there, really. And Warner was right behind it on middle stump, had to be. Yeah, 19 extras in the England total of 302 for 7. If England win this by a small margin, I'm sure it could be the extras that get them over the line. Too many wides down the leg side from Australia. 1 free hit as well that they gave away, which wasn't that costly because England, I don't think, scored a run, or maybe got 1 actually off the free hit, which was from Mitchell Marsh. Next delivery is onto the pads and run down towards mid-wicket. Quick shy at the stumps there from the mid-wicket fielder, but Warner was home, set off very quickly and positively, and he now moves to 19. Australia 39 for 2.
Yeah, dealing in singles and dots at the moment. Obviously, they were running pretty well early doors. I know wickets will change people's outlooks, etc. But there are in the power play, whether it's a confidence thing. Talked about Warner being under Archer's spell. He's not confident that he's going to play the big shot, and as a consequence, England applying the pressure.
Wokes finishes off his over. This one onto the pads and milked for a single down to deep square leg. Billings again fires in the throw back to Butler. So 40 for 2 after 9, and about 20 runs behind where England went. Maybe a bit less than 20, but about that.
Yeah, 9 overs gone, 59 for 2. England were. They were still hitting boundaries. Obviously, Morgan and particularly Bairstow. But they had the confidence. Bairstow got a duck last time out, but he knows what he can do for England, and he's not afraid to play the big shot. Warner struggling a little bit for form. His first delivery for 4, so he was 4 off 1 ball. He's now 19 of 27. Labuschagne hasn't played any kind of shot yet. He's 3 off 11. And I think in this day and age, perhaps in these against England, he's arguably not the answer, but you never know going forward in other areas, because he looks technically sound, isn't he? He's proven that at the test level, and he scores runs at that level. Going to see a bowling change of pace. Mark Wood's coming in for Jofra Archer.
Yeah, 64 wickets in 53 one-day internationals. He's an experienced campaigner now. Mark Wood in this format, brought back into the side today for Sam Curran. And the Durham paceman is going to bowl from the Brian Statham end, the last over of the initial power play. Only 2 men outside the circle, so no margin for error, especially now. You'd expect Australia would be boundary hunting here in this final over of the fielding restrictions. Labuschagne on strike, 3 not out, gets ready as Wood comes in off his long run up now. Bowls right arm over the wicket. This one's played off the pads into the onside, and no run, fielded at square leg. 87 mile an hour first ball of the over there for Mark Wood. Justin Langer actually admitted that towards the middle of that second one-day international, Australia were already thinking about what changes to make for this third one-day internationals in terms of bringing in the fringe players. They were so confident of going 2-0 up and winning the series, they were looking at bringing the reserves in for this game. Those plans all were scrapped, and they've gone with an unchanged 11. Next delivery is pushed into the offside by Labuschagne. That'll get him 2 runs. No, it won't. It'll get him 1 run. Surely there were 2 there. No, yeah, it is. Come back for the second. I beg your pardon. So Labuschagne should move to 5 here. The scoreboard hasn't quite updated. Did they actually get any runs there? Was that just a massive mix-up?
Unless they were both short, they must have done, surely. There was arguably 3 there. Yeah, I think the scoreboard you're looking at just hasn't ticked over.
No, okay. It has been a little bit slow to update throughout this series on the TV. We are bringing you off-tube, studio-based commentary, ball-by-ball commentary on the third one-day international as Wood bowls again. This one's just run down towards point by Labuschagne. Again, he's not taking any risks at all, even with the fielding restrictions. Just plays with a straight bat and a high elbow, and there is no run. Yeah, he has moved to 5, and the scoreboard has finally updated to 42 for 2.
I wasn't sure if he wasn't trying to leave that ultimately, but yeah, he's not afraid to take his time. We saw Josh Butler taking his time, which was rather unusual for him. He didn't capitalise though.
Wood in again, bowls, and this one is again run down towards third man. He's got this one behind the gully fielder though, and it will go for a single to third man on the boundary. 43 for 2. Field changes round for the left-handed Warner now, who's still a lot of a concern that he's only hit 2 boundaries, having been in there right since the start of the power play. 19 not out from, what is it? That's 47. How many balls has he faced?
27.
27. Okay, yeah. My eyesight not that hot. Comes in again here, Wood, and bowls. This one is pulled off stump, really, down towards square leg. It's nobody there for England. It's going to just rattle towards the rope for 4. So there you go. I was just criticising Warner for a lack of boundaries, and he's hit one. Takes Australia beyond 50 to 51 for 2.
Yeah, well, the last boundary came the very start of the 5th over. Of course, that 5th over ended with the dismissal of Stoinis, but yeah, that's almost 5 overs without a boundary in a power play, chasing 300. So, arguably not doing themselves any favours, but that doesn't mean they can't win it from here. But they're not that far behind England, of course, but they're not capitalising on those chances. So 7 off the over, 1 ball to come.
Yeah, it's actually 47 for 2, just to correct myself. Comes in Wood again, balls to Warner. He tried to run that one down and has missed it as it just goes over the top of middle stump. So a bit of a let-off there for Warner. 93 miles an hour. He was beaten for pace there by Mark Wood. At the end of 10, Australia 47 for 2.
Yeah, I mean, pace does frighten any batsman, really. I mean, if somebody's bowling at 90 plus, you know it's going to hurt. I don't think anybody enjoys playing really fast bowling. They might score runs off it. Just seen a little montage of the power play. Obviously some good shots early on, a couple of streaky ones. Aaron Finch missed a straight one and was plumb, and then Marcus Stoinis, who was dropped on 0, was then caught on 4. The drop giving him the 4 runs, and then he was out chasing one down the leg side. Ridiculous dismissal. He'll be fuming. Is that Joe Root coming into the attack?
Yes, it is.
Is my TV deceiving me? It's independent after studio commentary. It looks like Joe Root is going to bowl the 11th over. 47 for 2 Australia. England 67 for 2 in the power play. So job done for England. Well, job 1. It is indeed Joe Root who's coming on. Bowling to Labuschagne first up. He lost his run-up. Not a good start. This is the second power play, of course. 24 wickets and 149 matches. Not necessarily prolific, but capable. This isn't the end of season feeling in club cricket where everybody gets a bowl, I don't think. Joe Root's a bit more than that, as this one is played from the crease by Labuschagne. He set off quickly, he wants 2. He's not going to get it. Just 1. Good run in from mid-wicket to make sure it was only 1. I think that was Jason Roy, of course. Lasted as long as Joe Root at the crease. 1 delivery each. Joe Root gets a chance to bowl though. Warner's on strike. Is he going to go after Joe Root? 23 not out of 29. Is it 3 fours? Too early on, and then 1 last ball he faced. This one is dropped in short. Pulls it round the corner. Straight to Adil Rashid at short fine leg. I think he was trying to hit that too hard. Lost his balance in the end. David Warner, like Steve Smith, can't stop fidgeting. This one is down leg side. It's a bit of a waft attempted. He's missed it. I think it's missed everything, so I think it will be a wide. I think. 48, yeah, 49 for 2, given as a wide. just changing some fielders now. Somebody from the offside has gone out to the wideish fine leg, deep back and square. And the short fine leg, it was Adil Rashid, has now gone to short third man. Joe Root bowls to Warner. Again, it's down the leg side. It's just tickled away. Warner wants two. He's thinking about it. He's not going to take on the arm though. Settles for a single. 3 off 3 legitimate deliveries this over. One, of course, was a wide. Labuschagne's back facing. He's 7 off 16. 50 up for Australia, just noticed. 50 for 2 off 10.3. Root comes into Labuschagne, played from the crease through square leg again. Only for a single. Not really played a shot in anger yet, Labuschagne. Still fairly early in his innings, 17 deliveries faced. He's moved on to 8. And David Warner now back facing, 24 off 31. Oh, and he's done all ends up. One that turned, it looked like it was going down leg side. David Warner was shaping up for a big pull. It turned, it's clipped the top and middle, and David Warner has gone. You might be thankful Jofra Archer at least isn't the one to take his wicket, but it's been done all ends up by Joe Root. He's missed it by a mile, and that one turned and bounced.
Yes, a quality delivery from Joe Root, and what a decision from Owen Morgan again. He makes so many good decisions as captain, doesn't he? And to bring Joe Root on there in the 11th over had us both sort of scratching our heads thinking, what's he doing? But it's worked. He's got rid of David Warner for 24 from 32 balls faced. Root strikes, and Australia in big trouble now at 51 for 3.
Yeah, it's probably clipped the top of, the bail actually, rather than the top of the middle. I think it's middle and half. But, I mean, he's missed it by so much. David Warner there. It's obviously turned much more than he thought he was going to. Obviously, I spent the Australian innings, or the England innings, saying Zamba's not turning it. And it's taken one over from Joe Root to get a turner to do for their top batsman, or certainly one of them. And now Australia 51 for 3.
I think to the left-handers, though, there's some footmarks to bowl into. I'm not saying that necessarily hit any of the footmarks. It did just seem to spin off a good length, and it bounced a little bit as well, which surprised Warner. But I think the left-handers have it a bit tougher, don't they, with those footmarks, which the off-spinners can bowl into. Certainly the orthodox ones, and Root has struck. Mitch Marsh comes in. I think he's had a good series, having a good game as well with the bowling stint he put in. We'll see if he can turn things back around Australia's way. There's still batting to come from Australia. They bat all the way down really to 7 or 8. So although England have made a good start here, there's still work to be done.
Yeah, he's just looking at a replay of that dismissal again. David Warner, he's not close. He's just not close to it. Maybe he wasn't expecting it to turn. I mean, maybe he just doesn't like Joe Root and wants to smash him out of the ground. As Joe Root
haven't they had a few run-ins in the past, those two?
This one is just defended back to him by Marsh to complete the over, and that is a good over for Joe Root. 3 runs wide, but the wicket of David Warner. So 4 and that wicket, and England will be certainly fancying their chances after 11 overs. 51 for 3 Australia.
Yeah, there's still 250 runs plus away from the victory target, and now 39 overs in which to do it. Aaron Finch looks like he's I don't know, he looks like he's swallowed something quite nasty, and looks a bit uncomfortable in his seat watching on. I think there'll obviously be criticism for the Australian team, more so probably if they lose this match and lose the series for the way that they capitulated in the second, but who knows how this one will finish for them. Will they go down with a whimper, or will they go down fighting? Finch will hope that they can find some fighting spirit here, and so too Justin Langer, because these are all World Cup qualification points at stake here.
Mark Wood comes in, steaming in, and this one wraps the thigh pad, the back thigh pad, rather than the front thigh pad. And might have just felt that Labuschagne, just back of a length. Good pace though from Wood. We know he's got that in his locker. First over contact, I think, I suppose relatively expensive. Well, it went for 7, but we know what he's about. Pace. He's got it in abundance. Labuschagne feeling that one. He's 8 off 18. Of course, Marsh has only faced one delivery. Australia run rate strict to 4.5. This one is clipped nicely through mid-wicket. The man's in the deep though, so should only be one. And it is Sam Billings out there patrolling the rope. Quick over the ground. Good arm. Not taking him on. So does mean that Mitch Marsh is back facing. Actually, the first time he's faced Mark Woods today. Obviously now at the crease following the dismissal of David Warner. Top scored with 24 so far. Not much to aim at for Australia.
Carey doesn't start contributing enough runs, batting at 6.
Wood in again, it's full off stump, driven nicely, but straight to mid-off, so there is no run. Yeah, I just think Australia need another batsman. You could argue that, okay, Steve Smith might have played on another day, but Stoinis didn't bowl today, so they're suggesting that he's one of the top batsmen in Australia. I would disagree. Mitch Marsh is batting at 5. He did bowl though. You could, shove him down the order. And Maxwell's batting at 7. And they just need batsmen. They need a couple more batsmen. That's just my opinion. Long may they suffer, as the next delivery is short, outside off, and left alone by Carey in the end. No run.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say maybe this balance of team works for them in Australia, but if you look at the results, the 50-over side are in a bit of a slump, aren't they? Over even a sort of medium term, over the last few years, this is not a results machine at all. Australia, they're good in T20s, they're good in Test cricket, they're not anywhere near as good in 50-over cricket, and it's got to be in part due to the balance of the team. They go with 4 bowlers, bits and pieces cricketers to fill in the other 10 overs, and the batting order looks a little bit of a mess at the moment, a bit of a muddle.
In comes Wood. He's going around the wing to the left-hander. It's full on middle and leg, and it's just eased down to mid-on, but straight to the field. So again, there's no run. And this is good from Marwood. Good from England, really. Apart from I suppose Jofra Archer's first over, which went for 14. Wood's first over went for 7, but generally they've been less than 5, so they've been bowling really well. They've taken 4 wickets to boot. 56 for 4 Australia. Australia need a partnership. Again, it's full, spearing in at middle and leg. Well played by Carey. And that is a maiden though, first of the match for either side. Mark Wood has bowled it. And it remains 56 for 4.
Yeah, Australia have won 3 of the last 11 50-over matches, and
who did they play before England?
They played South Africa in South Africa, went down 3-0. That was in February, March. They played India in India, went down 2-1. And then the previous match to that was the World Cup semi-final at Edgbaston, which they lost by 8 wickets with 107 balls to spare.
Some great enjoyment from that one as the next delivery from Root. A little bit leg side, but it's a bit of pad involved. Butler the fields, so there is no run. Didn't go very far, and Butler was quickly round. Root wants to get through his wickets as quickly as possible. Next delivery is very full, but a sort of flighty full delivery, which Labuschagne waits in the crease, tickles it towards square leg, but the fielder is on the single, so there is no run. Not finding the gaps. Australia not finding the boundaries. Next delivery reaches forward, does get a gap this time. It's a pretty big one between mid-wicket and long on. They're thinking about a second, but Carey decides he doesn't want to take the chance. He'd have been running to the danger end, so it's just the single off 3 deliveries. Halfway through Root's 3rd over, 2 for 9 his figures. It's a beauty to get rid of David Warner. Here's the next delivery. Slog sweep comes out from Carey, and it's hit this well enough. This is between fielders. There's a boundary. It's come from the left-handed Carey. Made up his mind. He's connected with it very well indeed. Lasered to the boundary. Welcome for Australia.
Yeah, a bit of a risky shot. He's playing against the spin, but obviously felt getting that far down the wicket would kind of not quite negate the LBW.
Next delivery to a bit of an inside edge, trying to work it through the offside. It's ended up towards mid-on. They've still gone through for a single. The shot might have just wrong-footed Jofra Archer. He is a little bit nonchalant anyway, but Carey able to get home without too much trouble. He moves on to 6. Labuschagne back facing. Last ball of Root's 3rd over. This one again is played from the crease, works it through square, and it will be a single to the man in the deep. So relatively expensive from Joe Root, and no wicket. 7 from it, 63 for 4, Australia. But Root's doing a big job alongside Mark Wood, and of course it's Root that's taking the wickets.
Yeah, I think Owen Morgan deserves a big pat on the back for introducing him. This might be something that England had, I'm sure, discussed before the match, that they wanted to just see if Joe Root was going to turn it today. Perhaps his type of spin might have been something they wanted to get. Obviously, there's no Moeen Ali in the team at the moment, so they wanted a bit of off spin against Australia, and it's worked out. Now would be the time, I think, to go with a leg spin of Adil Rashid. I think 15 overs in, Australia just not quite started to build momentum, but certainly they've stemmed the run of wickets, and I think Adil Rashid coming on now could really bamboozle the Australian middle order. So he's got so many options, hasn't he, Owen Morgan now? Tom Curran is a very good middle of the innings bowler as well. He hasn't had a bowl yet, so I would say probably Joe Root, 3 overs, leave it at that. He's had two overs where he's got a wicket, and 1 over where he's gone for a few runs there, and just maybe say, okay, thanks Joe, you've done a great job for us. I'm just going to perhaps go elsewhere now.
Yeah, it looks like they're taking a drinks break. I don't know, it's an extended break. I thought that would come after 16, but maybe it's after 15. Australia 63 for 4. Interesting though, in those 2 previous ODIs, Owen Morgan stuck with his 5 frontliners. He didn't turn to Joe Root at all. 5 frontliners bowled their 10 overs each. Obviously Moeen bowled in the first, Sam Curran in the second, but his third match he's gone straight to Joe Root pretty early on.
Yeah, so Moeen Ali played in the first one, but not the second one, yeah?
Yeah, Moeen Ali played in the first, but he was one of the 5 who bowled 10 overs. He's only used 5 bowlers in the first 2 ODIs.
Yeah.
You would imagine Tom Curran is going to bowl, and therefore will be using 6 in this third. I suppose it could be seen as a test, couldn't it? Let's be honest, it could be seen as a test. You're going to have to bowl your 10, so if you're under pressure, you're just going to have to find a way to solve it. I don't know. Now they've got into a position where it's 1-1 in the series. Well, let's just win it and be done with it. I don't know. Owen Morgan was talking about pitches used for the 2023 World Cup. I mean, that's 3-4 years away. So why is he planning for the World Cup so far in advance?
Yeah, but also the ICC, the next ICC World T20's in India as well, isn't it? I think they moved the Australian ICC T20 back 2 years and are keeping the Indian ICC T20 as next year. So I guess Morgan obviously captains both sides. He's thinking about his options for the T20 as well, and constantly looking at players. And Joe Root, he was a useful bowler for England in the ICC T20 played in India 4 years ago, and maybe he's back on the radar of Morgan to be a one-day bowler this year.
Yeah, I reckon Moeen Ali, or the second spinner, will be playing in India. Maybe not the T20, I'm not sure actually. Wood comes in again. This one is a bottom edge into the ground. And Labuschagne takes no chances, bats it away from threatening to drop onto the stumps. So it's the dot ball. 94.9 miles an hour is Mark Wood's fastest delivery. His average speed is 92.1. That's his average. So consistently in the lower 90s. Not easy to play, particularly if you want to start crashing it around. Wood in again, sure, it is pulled nicely, but there is a fielder in the deep. It's almost picked him out perfectly. The throw in is not fantastic, but it doesn't cost any extra runs onto the total. Sam Burns it was in the deep. Labuschagne's 12 off 25. That was possibly before that derby. 13 off 26. Alex Carey 6 off 10. He took his time in the second ODI, but of course Australia were capitulating around him. He didn't want to give his wicket away as well. He's on strike. Wood around the wicket. Well, it's a quick delivery, but it's on the pads. Flicked down to fine leg for a single. The required run rate is just creeping up towards 7. The current rate is dropping towards 4. They're going in opposite directions. Of course, losing wickets doesn't help. They're rebuilding again. We saw Johnny Bairstow was able to sustain it, his innings, pretty much until he was out. Did put pressure on the lower order late on, but obviously it was only 9 overs to try and hit as many runs as they could, which they did a pretty good job of doing as Wood comes in again. Back of a length off stump, defended by Labuschagne, and there is no run.
He's bowled a very consistent length today, Mark Wood. No bounces. It's just not the wicket to be bowling bounces on, really. Even Jofra Archer's kind of steered clear of those, but he's refrained from bowling anything too full either. Not gone to his Yorkers yet. That'll probably be for later on in the match. His usual sort of death bowling plan, but right now he's just hitting that back of a length, ball in, ball out, really, and the batsmen are struggling to get it away for anything more than the odd single.
Wood bowling to the right-handed though, Labuschagne. He went for a cut. It's a bottom edge. It's just missed the stumps. There's a diving stop at fine leg. I think it's Rashid down there. Keeps it to 2. Saved a couple of runs there, Adil Rashid. But Labuschagne, probably first real aggressive shot that we've seen from him. Almost his undoing. He did play a pull shot actually, but yeah, this one outside off. Bottom edge. It just plays it in a way that's peculiar to me anyway.
Yeah.
Lucky, a little bit lucky. 2 from that delivery. 1 ball left. Labuschagne still on strike, of course. 4 off the over. Here comes Wood, chasing his first wicket. Legs ball off stump. Solid defence from Labuschagne, and that's the end of the over. So 4 from it. Another good one as far as England are concerned. 67 for 4 Australia. 16 overs gone.
Yeah, Australia have reached England's score after 10 overs now, so they're essentially 6 overs behind. But England did slow up at the point where they reached 67. Australia really can't slow up anymore, can they? Simply have to keep scoring at least 5 and over, or else that asking rate's going to go up, well beyond 7, 8 and over, which is going to be hard to maintain throughout 30 plus overs. So yeah, England were 85 for 3 at the same stage. Australia 67 for 4. Floodlights on. Pitch a little bit up and down. Bit of turn in the wicket now for the spinner, and still no Adil Rashid, as Owen Morgan continues with Joe Root.
Yeah, still no Tom Curran either. So Joe Root, he's taken 2 wickets, let's be fair to him. He's 2 for 15 off 3. It was actually 2 for 8 off 2. Last over went for 7. Bowling to the left-handed Carey. Offers a bit of width outside off, and it's just eased through points along the floor. They're not really pushing a second. It's Bairstow who's closing in on it. He's quick, he's got a good arm. And that is just 1 to the total. Just mean that the right-handed Labuschagne is facing. He's got a left-hander, right-hander out. Marsh might argue he was unlucky, edged onto the pads, ballooned up into the air, but it wasn't edge, as this one is given flight, and it's just driven sort of. That's it, better than I thought it looked. It was almost digging out a Yorker. He got it into a gap, then it seemed to pick up speed and raced away from the fielders. First boundary for Marnus Labuschagne. It's come off his 30th delivery.
Yeah, he's got those elastic wrists, and he just whips that one through the covers, really, with almost a bit of a tennis shot. You'd say that was a double-fisted forehand.
This one is played into the offside. Oh, there's a quick run-out attempt. I'm not sure Joe Root had much of a chance. Jason Roy with the underarm attempt diving in. Labuschagne taking a big chance there. That was certainly risky, to say the least. He has got home. Let's have a look at a replay. Yeah, Joe Root could have done a little bit better. He really needed a direct hit, but to expect Jason Roy to direct hit from that range, he's asking a lot. He's right-handed, sliding to his left. He's then going to go throw it back across his momentum. They hit the stumps. Tough. Root could have done a bit better, I'll have to admit.
but Labuschagne made his ground. Carey will face the next ball of this Joe Root over.
He did bring a slip in for Carey, but he's still there. As this one is flatter and chopped away, doesn't quite beat Adil Rashid on the 45 on the offside, third man. So here's a dot ball, first dot ball of the over. Root in again. This one is pushed in front of square. There's a shot at the stumps. There's an underarm from Butler. It's gone upstairs. Labuschagne was the one who's trying to make his ground. Butler thinks he's got his man. That was risky, to say the least. I have to admit, Labuschagne doesn't look especially confident, but the umpire has gone upstairs.
First glance, he looked out to me, but it'll be close.
Yeah, it's not that close, is it?
No.
Yeah, the bails are off. That's great work. Sam Billings it was doing the fielding, and he's a good yard short of his ground. I don't think Labuschagne's going to be best friends with Alex Carey at the end of this one. Run out. Called through, and it's risky. Yeah, out is signalled. So Marnus Labuschagne has gone. He's gone in Joe Root's over as well. Not that Joe Root will get the credit for it. Good combination there, Billings and Butler. Labuschagne has to walk.
Yeah, it's a long walk back to the pavilion. It's a long flight back to Australia for Marnus Labuschagne as well. He's not been able to make any impact really at all on this series. Again, the cameras focus on Justin Langer, and he just pulls the cap down a little bit over his head. It's a tough seat to be in as the Australian head coach and one of the selectors as well. He's a selector coach, so a lot of responsibility on Langer, and well, I'm sure he's going to face a few critics after this tour. Maxwell comes out, the big show at 7 for Australia. The big show, he's almost the last hope for Australia here to get anywhere near 303.
Well, if there's anybody in the Aussie lineup that could do it, I suppose he is one. He just has more off days than on. That's the problem for Glenn Maxwell. Some of the shots he plays, you think he's never going to be out of a side, but some of the dismissals he gets out to, as this one is just eased into the offside, gets off the mark straight away with just a nicely stroked single, keeps the strike as well. That was the last ball of the 17th over, so actually 8 from that over. 75 for 5, is it?
Yep. Yeah, Sam Billings' throw.
I beg your pardon. 74 for 5.
Sam Billings' throw to Josh Butler for that run out couldn't have been much better, could it? It was perfectly into his gloves, just behind the stumps, and easy for the keeper to do the rest. And a count for Marnus Labuschagne. Poor running between the wickets has hurt Australia. It didn't hurt them so much in the second one-day international, but it was still poor. There could have been runs out. There could have been a 2 or 3 run out. There were 3 run out chances missed by England early on in that Australian run chase that faltered later. So it's Jofra Archer back into the attack. Expensive in his first incarnation. He had just 4 overs at the top, went for 23 runs, but he's back in now to bowl to Glenn Maxwell.
Yeah, great spell from Wood. No wickets, but 4 overs, 1 made, 0 for 12. Slower delivery to start from Archer to Maxwell, who slightly misjudged it. In the end, it's just slowly arriving at backward point along the floor. No run. Maxwell 1 off 2. Bit of pressure on his shoulders. He'll just find a way of getting out. That's just what he does. He stopped the habit of slog sweep in the first delivery. That seems to be one of his go-tos as Archer comes in again. Oh, it's hoiked away out towards square leg, and it's over the boundary. 6 runs. What a start. Jofra Archer might be quick, but I'm going to smash him for 6 runs.
Yeah, cracking shot that. We saw Johnny Bairstow play a similar sort of pick-up shot that went for the maximum as well in roughly the same direction. But Archer bowls at a few miles an hour quicker and he just went to the boundary quicker.
7 off 3 then, Maxwell, who chops this one away behind square on the offside. Fielder has to get around Johnny Best. It does so. They should come back for 2 though, and indeed do. So he's expensive again. Jofra Archer. This is coming off 4 overs, 1 made, not for 12 figures for Mark Wood, the pace man he replaced. That's just the way of things, isn't it? Fast bowlers, some days it works, some days it doesn't. As Archer looking for revenge. Oh, this one is a shorter delivery, and Maxwell out of the way pretty quickly. It's the fastest I've seen Archer bowl, but he was sharp enough, and Maxwell wasn't taking any chances. 9 off 5 then for Glenn Maxwell. They obviously need some kind of impetus as well as people to stay there, Australia, because the run rate was heading up towards 7 as this one is cut away. This time it's in front of square on the offside. Bairstow doesn't mind the extra work. He's fast around as well, keeping it to 1. Well, the required rate is still 6.83, so it's fairly close to 7, so that's after a 6 as well. So Australia couldn't afford to let the run rate keep climbing up. Carey might have to start playing some sort of shots as well. He's 8 off 14. We haven't yet hit 20 over, so it's not necessarily the end of the world. But you do need 303 to win. That's 220 runs away, as this one is short. Defended quite well by Carey. He didn't quite find the gap though, and so it will be a dot ball. 9 off the over though. Good one for Australia on the back of Root's last over, which went for 8, but they have lost Labuschagne. 83-4-5.
Yeah, Carey played a good innings on this ground in the World Cup, remember. It was the final group game, and Australia were already qualified for the semi-finals. Good job, because they lost that match by 10 runs to South Africa, who were already eliminated, but in trying to chase 325, they fell 10 runs short. Carey made 85 off 69 with 11 fours and 1 6 with a strike rate of 123.19. I don't think he's played a better one-day innings, possibly not a better innings in Australian colours, and that was on this ground just over 12 months ago.
Root is continuing, and this one turns a little bit, and that's an ugly sort of shot from Maxwell. He's managed to keep it out, but he's lost all hope of getting a run because he's massively off balance, mistimed, and in the end he's picked out mid-wicket. So Root in again. This one's more on the pants. Tickle round the corner. It's just a look down the track. Carey's coming, so Maxwell goes. He's single. Gets Carey back facing. Of course, Carey played a lovely 4. The sweep shot off Joe Root. That's his only boundary thus far, Alex Carey. It's a sweet hit though. There's this one. He's on the pads. Work leg side. Slip was going up, thinking that it was pad first, but no, just the single. Hasn't quite been able to replicate that delivery that got rid of David Warner. Joe Root, it's turned a fair degree. Rooting again to the right-handed Maxwell, who just pushes this to mid-wicket. He's the only man on the single in front of square on that leg side. That's what may be disappointed. Next shot, well, he defends it to the same person, so I'm not overly disappointed. 2 runs, 3 dot balls, 1 delivery left. Joe Root to Glenn Maxwell. Root's desperate to just get through his overs. Having to wait for the batsman. In he comes again. Again, it's work leg side. This time he does get it wide enough of Jason Roy, I beg your pardon. attempt than the previous.
Cricket all round, isn't it? Because, you know, criminal really to bowl a no ball. You're not going to get away with those nowadays with the way that they're called by the third umpire, but also a very, very poor decision to play that shot from Carey. However, at the end of the day, it's not going to matter too much if he goes out and scores a century now.
Archer looking for some revenge there, and he spears it into the legs, and it's smited away to the mid-wicket boundary. He doesn't quite get hold of it. Should get at least 2. That's good running. They've turned it into 3. So that's good running from Australia. Actually, a free hit. Go for your life. Does mean Maxwell's back on strike. Australia 91 for 5 then.
He's going to run out of partners today, isn't he, Maxwell? You know, batting at 7, I can just see him being the sort of left not out at the end, and again, huge questions about why he's coming in at 7.
Top edge, it's a short delivery, top edge, balloons over the keeper, 1 bounce, 4 runs. He's taken on the Archer short stuff, but a little bit lucky there. He has got the boundary 4 though. And again, it's another expensive over for Jofra Archer. Owen Morgan, I might have to have a rethink. Admittedly, Archer's now will have completed 6 overs by the time this over's finished, so could argue we'd be giving him a rest anyway. Tom Curran hasn't seen any action so far. Mark Wood was bowling well, but Jofra Archer's going 7 and over. In he comes for the last ball of the over. It's another shortish one, but it's actually just defended away, and there is no run. So Australia, a bit of a let-off. Carey caught off a no ball. He didn't know it at the time, neither did England, but they've then smited 7 off the next 2 deliveries. And Australia are 95 for 5. Alex Carey is 12, Maxwell 17. 30 overs to go.
Yeah, so we're still a long way from their victory target, but while Maxwell's still there, while Carey's still not out, they have a faint hope. Needs a big partnership here, at least 100 runs partnership between these two to give Australia any kind of chance. I think it could be time for a bowling change. I'm not sure if Joe Root's going to carry on, but I'm not sure if Jofra Archer will get the full allocation of 10 overs now. He's just not bowled well enough, and it's Root who bowls the first ball of the 21st. This one around the wicket to the right-handed Carey, and just defensively prodded away to point for no run. Root in again, bowls to Carey. Carey glances this one through mid-on, where it's fielded by Archer on the edge of the circle, but they run through one quite casually there. 96 for 5 Australia. Root has already got the ball back in his hand, but coming in now to Glenn Maxwell, and the right-hander goes back and tries to cut this one off a decent length out towards point, gets it away for a single, fielded by Curran, who must be wondering what he's done wrong. Tom Curran not to have had an over yet. Root 2 for 27. Big impact, has got a couple of crucial wickets. Warner, one of them, this next delivery outside the off stump, and the left-handed Carey stretches for it and cuts it through cover. Might be 2 here to the fast Bairstow was running round. It's a good return back to the bowler, but they are back for the second, particularly Maxwell, who was running to the danger end, and that takes Australia to 99 for 5. Root broke the stumps, Bales came off, and umpire will have to just oversee the rebuilding of the stumps there before Root can bowl again. To Carey once more, who's moved to 15 now. Big reprieve for him. Caught off a no ball. This one from Root is wide of the off stump and left by Carey. I think he was possibly thinking that could have been wide, but it wasn't. And so it remains 99 for 5. 1 ball left in the 21st. 60 mile an hour delivery that from Root. That's his quickest yet. He's getting ready to come in again. Balls from wide of the crease, just looped up and flicked down the ground. There's a shy at the stumps, the bowler's end, and he would have been gone had he's hit there, Jofra Archer. It was straight to him. Archer took aim at 2.5 stumps and couldn't quite break them, but a single to Carey takes him to 16, and Australia passed the 100 mark after 21 overs. Australia in big trouble still at 100 for 5. But like I say, Carey given a big reprieve, caught off a no ball. So under the lights at Old Trafford, the required run rate is now exactly 7 and over. It is just about still manageable. You would think, even for a 6th wicket partnership, to do that. 29 overs to go. How deep will Australia take this? They need 203 more, and it's going to be Tom Curran now into the attack. So I thought there'd be a bowling change after Archer's just blotted his copybook with the no ball in the previous over, which should have been a wicket. Tom Curran does get to bowl now, and he's got 28 wickets in 24 one-dayers so far, an average of 36, and an economy rate of around about 5.6. He comes in around the wicket, bowls to Carey, who tries to pull him, pulls it straight and along the ground to Archer at mid-on. No run. Curran, the older brother to Sam, the other England international who missed out tonight. He's the left-arm bowler, Curran the right-arm bowler. Good slower ball in his armoury as well. Ball's out of the back of the hand. He comes in around the wicket here, bowls a length ball outside the off-stump. Carey tries to just glide it towards point and picks out the fielder, no run. England were 113 for 4 after 21.2 overs. Australia just 13 runs behind, but they have lost 1 further wicket. Great acceleration from England towards the end, though. Carey gets ready to face Curran again, who's round the wicket and bowling, and this one's fallen, just pushed out towards point again, fielded by Roy. Let's get a bit bogged down here. Alex Carey, like I say, his best innings in Australia colours came at this ground, 85 from 69 in a losing cause, but he certainly made a name for himself and probably earned a spot for himself for quite a period after that with that knock round the wicket. This one's turned into the onside by Carey, but again he can't get a run, he can't get it off the square as it's fielded by the man coming in, Morgan. That was a slow ball at 71 miles an hour from Curran, who's mixing it up very nicely in this opening over. 4 balls and 4 dot balls so far for Tom Curran. Maxwell is itching to get on strike here at the bowler's end. He's desperate for Carey to call him through, or maybe call Carey through. Curran is on his way again, past the umpire, bowls, and Carey plays his one out to the offside again. He's picked out the fielder at cover, and again his shoulders sag and his body language is a little bit dejected after that shot. The Surrey bowler just puffing his cheeks out now, Curran, as he walks back to his mark. He'll be off to the IPL as well, one of a number of England players who'll be featuring that in that competition later this week. Start of next week, I think the England players can play. Here he comes again, round the wicket, bowls, and Carey just drops this one into mid-wicket, and he doesn't get a run. He was looking for one, but it's a maiden over from Tom Curran. The 22nd over is a maiden, and Australia are still 100 for 5. Carey looks at his back quizzically and touches gloves with Maxwell at the end of the over, but he couldn't rotate the strike there to get Maxwell on. Next batsman is Pat Cummins, who averages less than 20 in one-day internationals. Mitchell Stark's good strike rate, coming in at 9 he would be, wouldn't he? And then you've got the likes of Zampa after that, and Hazelwood. Joe Root's going to get another over. He comes in over the wicket now and bowls, and this one's cut off the back foot by Maxwell. Plays into a gap in the offside, probably back for 2 here on Curran. No, they don't. Well, I thought there was 2 there, and you'd expect them to be pushing 1s into 2s now at this stage, but not on that occasion. Carey will stay on strike, or will have strike for the next one. The left-hander waits for Root, who bowls round the wicket, and Carey cuts into the deck and gets this one away for a single to point. 102 for 5. In the 23rd, Root has really done a job for England tonight. Big surprise when he was introduced to the attack in the 11th over, and he's pretty much bowled unbroken from that end since. He's in again, and this one is a length ball which is just played away. No spin there for Root on this occasion. Maxwell just dabs it away for 1 to point again. 103 for 5. So 200 runs away from their target now, Australia, as Root comes around the wicket to the left-handed Carey. This one speared in and pulled. It was a long hop, but it got the treatment from Carey, who rattled it away to the mid-wicket boundary for 4. So finally a boundary for Australia, just to break the monotony of singles and dot balls. And Carey quickly latching onto a short ball from Root and pulling it to the boundary. Root is in his 7th over as the ball's returned to him from the boundary. Carey now 21. Round the wicket, balls to the left-hander, who cuts off the back foot. Now this one just beyond point, which is Billings, and out towards the man coming in from sort of wideish third man, which is Bairstow. So Australia now 108 for 5 with 1 ball left in the 23rd. Maxwell eyes up that leg side boundary, but it's not the short boundary. A short boundary to the offside here, as he just plays this one from his from the crease off the pads, but mistimes it, and it's picked up by Butler running round from behind. So end of the over, 108 for 5, 8 off the over, which was a good one as far as Australia are concerned. It's ahead of the run rate that they need from now on, but England pretty happy with the match situation, having put 303 on the board. Joe Root looks like he might be going off here. He's just high-fived Adil Rashid on his way to the boundary, but we'll just see if he just steps over the boundary now and goes up the steps. Tom Curran will bowl the next over. Curran bowling a maiden first up, as Alex Carey faced all 6 balls and couldn't get him away, and it's going to be Carey on strike again for the start of the 24th. The Surrey right armour gets ready. He's coming over the wicket he's going round the wicket to the left-hander, and he bowls this one on off stump, and it's just played back into the ground and picked up by Curran in his follow-through. He's got a big sweatband on his left arm. And he's got his collar turned up as well as he gets ready to come in again. Looks to have really made himself a bit of a fixture in this one-day side in the aftermath of Liam Plunkett. Comes in again, ball's full, and this one's just played into the ground by Carey. Again, he can't get a run, and that's 8 consecutive dot balls. Curran has bowled to Carey now, which in any match, even a test match, would be cause for a comment. It's a little off-cutter he's bowled to Carey there, and he just can't get a run, can't buy a run at the moment. Curran is at his top of his mark again. Comes sauntering in past the umpire, balls round the wicket. Carey goes with a ramp shot. He's tried to do something out of the ordinary, and he's just flicked it round the corner for a single to fine leg. He looked awkward. Well, it was awkward. He just had to do something to break the monotony of dot balls.
Yeah, he struggled on Sunday, didn't he? Obviously, they fell 24 runs short in the end, but he was sort of there at the end, but he was struggling to get it away then. This isn't helping the team, and of course Maxwell at the other end. The dot balls, the pressure applying, run rates required is creeping up to 7.5. It's not massive at the moment, but obviously there's still got only 5 wickets left.
Switches back to over the wicket to the right-handed Maxwell, who gets a length ball and drives it thickish edge down towards third man. Will get a single, so Maxwell shows Carey how it's done. Get a single off the first ball he faces. That was another slower ball from Curran, now 69 miles an hour. That's about as slow as he's dropped it down to so far. And I think this is England learning from the spell that Mitchell Marsh bowled in their innings when Marsh took the pace off, bowled some good slow balls, and Curran I think is just trying to do exactly the same. In again to Carey, round the wicket, bowls. Carey goes to slash this one through the offside. He's found a gap, he's drilled it through, and it will go for 4 despite the dive on the boundary, which ends up with the England fielder in a heap on the other side of the rope. That takes Australia to 114 for 5.
Yeah, good shots. Gave himself a bit of room. Probably got the exact length he wanted and played it into that gap through the covers, or not quite over the covers. Maybe it would have been had a man been on the single, but it's hit with power. And yeah, the bit of width just gave him the chance to do something like that. Most of the protection's on the leg side, so there are gaps in particular on the offside boundary.
Here he comes again, Curran bowls, and this one's drilled down the ground by Carey, but only to the mid-off fielder, so no run again. And that's the end of the over. Australia 114 for 5, 6 off that one.
Yeah, just looking at where England were, actually, they're not that far behind. England were 126 for 4. Obviously, Australia 114 for 5, but Carey hasn't quite got going. Australia's tail is no shorter than England's, and of course, England's actually produced Curran at 19, Chris Wokes at 50. So if they lose a wicket, they're under pressure, Australia. Carey looks like he's just struggling to find the middle of the bat, certainly struggling to find the gaps. Root's continuing.
Yeah, it's his 8th over, and he bowls to Maxwell, who just defends on off stump. That one turning back into the pads, and a very watchful Maxwell just dabbed it away. He's got to go this over, hasn't he? Maxwell's got to be thinking Root's got to disappear for a 6 soon. As he bowls this next one, Maxwell goes back and just dabs this one into the ground. Carey was backing up a long way and had to quickly backpedal into his ground there as he just dribbled to mid-wicket. And Maxwell now comes down the wicket and just does a bit of dusting, does a bit of sweeping up with the end of his bat there, as if he was trying to get something cleared off the wicket. Bit of dust possibly. Here is Root again, bowls, and Maxwell goes for the big shot. This one's hoisted up in the air, down the ground, and 6 runs all the way. Well, something had to happen, and Maxwell decided that Root's got to go.
Yeah, it's a while coming. I know he went for a boundary in his last over, Joe Root, but yeah, they've got to take the aggression. I was just thinking, are they going to play a match without bowling Adil Rashid? But, you know, this could be the last Joe Root over. Who knows? It is his 8th.
And he's in again, Root to bowl to Maxwell. This one dropped shorter and played down the ground, but actually he was a bit cramped for room there as it spun back to him, and it's unable to get it away for a run there. So a good comeback from Root. In again, Root bowls to Maxwell, who tries to drive down the ground. He's swatted it down towards long on for a single. So I think that's 7 off the over, isn't it, so far? A 6 and a 1, but 3 dot balls as well. Carey will face the last ball of this Root over. Round the wicket he bowls, and Carey goes back and cuts, and he gets this one beyond the short third man fielder out towards Deep Point, who's come round Bairstow fields, and they've got 1. So 8 off the over, Australia 122 for 5 at the halfway mark. And by comparison, England were, Rob?
130 for 4.
Not too different then.
Yeah, not too different. England's kind of regrouping after Butler had fallen. That came in the 19th over, but yeah, not too far away. England, well, obviously England have got the scores on the board. Australia still need 180, so they haven't even got halfway, and England are halfway through their batting lineup. They know that if they lose a wicket, Australia, then they're going to be very under the pump, as it were. Sam Billings has actually departed the field, so England have got a sub-fielder on. Curran will continue. We still haven't seen Rashid.
Yeah, so Curran has dominated Carey so far. He's going to come round the wicket again to the left-hander and bowls into the deck, and it's just run down towards square leg. Actually, he's got too much on it, but it doesn't matter because he just dropped it and ran, and that does get Maxwell on strike. So Curran hasn't bowled too much to Maxwell in this innings thus far. Maxwell 28. Some big shots from him. 28 from 25, I think he is. In fact, these two now pretty much keeping pace with each other, Carey and Maxwell. As he comes over the wicket to the right-hander, who tries to cut and gets this one out towards backward point. Fielder there is Bairstow, and again they're coming back for the second and make it comfortably as the throw is halfway down the track there for Butler to take. Yeah, Rashid is kicking his heels a little bit on the boundary rope there, fielding at fine leg, I think. He's trying to keep his fingers warm. He's doing some stretching, some sort of bowling exercises now, as if he's been given the nod. Curran bowls. This one's going to be a wide, I think. It was pushed too far outside the off stump for even Maxwell to stretch for, and so that's an extra into the Australian total, 126 for 5. Bowled well so far, Tom Curran, but you get the feeling that Maxwell is really going to start going after everybody in this England attack now. It simply has to be the case that they can't stand on ceremony. Curran bowls again. It's another one that's been pushed wide, and it's been edged further wide, and it will run beyond the fielder at third man, down the rope, down the hill, over the rope, 4 runs. So a welcome boundary again for Maxwell, who moves to 34. Australia 130 for 5.
Yeah, I think, is he trying too much? I mean, that was almost another wide, but this time, because it was a full toss, I think Maxwell's quite happy. It was a very low full toss, but because it's a full toss, he's happy to go after it, and he's got enough. But I think this is the presence of Maxwell. I know I've kind of suggested he gets himself out, but if he does get in, he can play all round the ground. He's a big hitter, and just the fact that he's there and he's got a start now. He's 34 off 27. He's got in the bowler's minds a little bit. Maybe that 6 has just reminded them, better be careful when we bowl to Maxwell. And we're seeing all sorts of deliveries now from Curran, who started his spell with a maiden.
Comes in again here, Curran, to Maxwell. This one's on the pads, and he's turned around a little bit there, Maxwell, and he's annoyed with himself. He wanted to slap that one out the ground. It was not quite in his slot, and in the end it's just wrapped him on the pad, and he sees another ball go down as a dot in the scorer's book. 34 not out as Curran comes in again past the umpire, bowls a length ball. That one's gone through him, and he's bowled him. Oh, has he? Oh, I thought I saw the bails flash there as it went through. It must have just missed them, and there is no review from Owen Morgan. It was just a cracking delivery that Maxwell missed, and it missed the stumps.
Yeah, it's gone over the top of middle stump. I mean, that's going to put you off going for a review if it's gone over the stumps. Obviously, it's a great delivery, cut him in 2. Might have just done enough to be missing a leg. No, maybe I'm over-egging that one. But height's a factor there, obviously.
Yeah, it's flicked the top of the front pad, hasn't it? Curran to complete the over comes in again to Maxwell. This one's a slow ball which Maxwell waits for and drives out. There's a shot that stumps the bowler's end, and he's home. Wasn't that risky a single. He bowled a slower ball which Maxwell waited for, but he couldn't really get much behind it, so just had to drop and run really. End of the over though, eventful one. Sees Australia move up to 131 for 5.
Yeah, it's a mistake though from Jason Roy, and I don't know whether it's just because he wanted to get Maxwell out. The danger man there, and it's the easier throw, is Carey, because Carey didn't go straight away, and of course he's closer to the Carey wicket than he is to Maxwell. He should have been throwing at Carey's end, because Maxwell played it, ran, no hesitation. Carey, the non-striker, not necessarily backing up, certainly not ready to take that single, caught on his heels, and that was the biggest chance of a wicket. But he went for Maxwell. Maxwell was home, didn't matter. And Al Rashid, now in the 27th over, gets his first go with the ball, so he will just about squeeze 10 in, obviously. But it's a bit late to his arrival. But he's definitely, Jason Roy should definitely have gone to Carey's end now.
So England miss a run-out opportunity just before Rashid is introduced to the attack. The right-arm leg spinner will be up against Glenn Maxwell to start off with after that scrambled single. 131 for 5 after 26. Here's Rashid, who bowls. This one's tossed up and Maxwell just defends it back down the wicket to the Yorkshireman, who helped bowl England to victory in the T20 series that preceded these one days, and then helped bat England to victory in the last match on Sunday. Just blows on his right hand again as he flicks the ball up and then comes in and bowls. And this one, Maxwell just plays back down the ground very carefully, very watchfully back to the bowler.
Yeah, he played a little cameo today as well. He might have only scored 11 off 9 balls, but his running between the wickets helped England get 2s and keep works on strike, etc. Maxwell did this the last Joe Root over, 2 dot balls and then a 6.
Here he comes again. Rashid bowls, and this one Maxwell opens himself up on the offside and drives out towards cover, deep cover in fact, and it's fielded by Curran. So just a single. Yeah, he's had a good day, Adil Rashid. He hit a 6 off Mitchell Starc as well, didn't he? Absolutely clubbed him out of the ground. Has played Big Bash for the Adelaide Strikers. Never played IPL, has he, Rashid? It seems like that'll be perhaps one ambition of his that will not quite be achieved. He comes in here to bowl to Carey. Ooh, that one. Carey had about 3 shots in his mind, didn't he? And he's played none of them. He just left it as he goes through to Butler. It was on a length, I think it was the googly, and it was pushed out wider, and Carey doesn't know what to do with that.
Safe to say he didn't pick it. The length said pull.
Comes in again here, Rashid bowls. This one is swept up in the air, slog swept high down towards the boundary, and it's just landed over the rope. Good effort from the England fielders who tried to time the jump and then flick it back in. I think it was Joe Root who was the man that tried to do that, but all he could do was deflect it onto the ground for 6.
Yeah, I think it's the short boundary, isn't it? Because it's not quite at the middle of the bat. He got it quite low down the bat as well, but Joe Root, not easy out there right on the rope, knowing that you can't tread on it and it's going over your head.
Rashid in again to Carey, who goes back and tries to force this one through point, fielded by Banton, who's on for Billings, and they take 1. So it's a good over for Australia. Rashid, has he got 1 left here, or has the scoreboard just not updated? It's 138 for 5 anyway.
Yeah, he's 139 for 5.
Right.
Bowled out 8 off the over, so it's a pretty good over for Australia, but still there's 3 dot balls there. If you're going to hit a 6, you want more than 8 in an over, particularly in a run chase. Yes, it's more than the required rate, but I mean it's only just more than the required rate, and you've hit a 6, so too many dot balls. You've got to